Hey creative minds, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to introduce an exciting concept on scroll exploration. This time we are taking it up a notch by incorporating an additional dimension. This idea draws inspiration from the captivating 3D grid animation featured on Inflection. So this is the website, guys, inflection.xyz. If you are interested, you can see this website. I think this website is on point. This website also crafted by Obis. This is a digital agency, I think. So the website is full of animations, guys. So if you are interested, you can check it out. So the concept is straightforward. We place an image grid in a 3D perspective, and as we scroll through the page, we dynamically transform the individual grid items to create a captivating and engaging motion effect. Adding some randomness to these transformations can further enhance the visual intrigue. So depending on the specific grid layout we select, so the animations can be harmonized to produce an overall motion effect that is both engaging and visual appealing. Guys, this website is a masterpiece. It deserves a like and a subscribe. This is the least thing that I wanted from you. So guys, this is so amazing. We will have too much fun creating this amazing website. Guys, without any other words, let's go.
Koyotec.
So first thing first, make sure you've got the starter project ready. So you can find the GitHub link in the video description below. Alright, so now let's take a look at what we have got. Inside our project repository, we've got three key folders: the CSS, the image, and the JavaScript, along with our trusty HTML file. So our CSS file right now is currently empty, but don't worry, we are going to populate it with some amazing styles shortly. But before we get to the styling part, let's delve into what's inside the GS folder. So inside the GS folder, you will find our essential files. So the first one is the GSAP, is a powerful library for creating our dynamic animation, and the second one is images loaded. So it's a handy library that ensure all our images are loaded before any actions take place, ensuring a smooth user experience. So the Linus, this is an open source library for smooth scrolling, which is fantastic addition to our project. And the last one is the Scrolltrigger, is another fantastic tool from GreenSock that let us trigger animation as we scroll through the page. So guys, this is going to be a game changer. Now that we have got our GS folder covered, let's switch our focus to the HTML file. I want to show you what I've done so far to set the stage for our project. So in our HTML file, I've started by setting up the basic structure of our web page. So as you can see right here, we have 6 sections. This is for our grid layout. So guys, the other one is the intro right here. So guys, as you can see right here, also this is the first part of our page. Do you remember, guys, this is the part that I'm talking about. So guys, I think that everything is easy and clear. What we just did only is just using div to create the our grid items. So and we use our images. That's it. So what we are going to do right now is working on our CSS, base.css. So guys, without any other words, let's go. Alright, so what we gonna do first is to select all the elements of our HTML, including the after, their afters, and their before, to initiate the elements. So what we gonna do is, given the all these elements of the HTML, the box sizing to border box. This is the first thing that we're gonna do. Right now we are going to create our custom properties, so we are going to use the root. And first thing first, let's start with the font size. We will give it 25 pixels. The second thing, we will add a color for our text, so we will use the color text and we will give it white. We will use also the color background, we will give it the black. We will use also the color title. We will give it this code right here. We will use also the perspective. What we have also, so I think I have a mistake right here. So what we're gonna do next is to make ratio for our grid item. We will use width for our grid. And we will give it 100%. The grid height, auto, and we will use a gap for our grid. We will use the columns for our grid also. And one last thing, the scale of our inner grid. Okay, so I think we've finished with our custom properties. Right now we are going to work on the body of the page. We will use a margin 0. We will use the color. We will use the var function, and we will use the color text. We will make a color for our background. And we will give it our custom property, the color background. Font, we will use the Moret variable for this project. We will use the serif. One other thing that we are going to use is the settings. We will give variation settings. We will give it 0, not italic, and the weight of our text is gonna be 300. All right. One other thing, that we are going to use our WebKit to make smooth font and optimize the rendering of our text. So we're gonna use the WebKit. We will use also for Mozilla back, so we will use the font smoothing grayscale. So guys, let's split actually our HTML. We will use our HTML. So what we're gonna do right now is to work on our main. So we will give the main a position which is relative, the overflow hidden, and the width 100%. So what we are going to do is working on our intro right here, guys. We will give it a height of, we will use the calc function to make it responsive. We will work with the view height. It's actually, it will help us a lot working with the responsiveness of our web page. So one other thing that we're gonna use is the text align center, the place items center, also the display grid, the margin bottom will be 30 view heights. So what we're gonna do next is to work on our intro title, this part title. We will give a place items center, a margin 0, a line height 0.9, a display grid margin top equal to 15, view height. Also we will use the font weight 400. So guys, this is what we have so far right now. Let me check. Alright guys, so what we gonna do next, we are going to work the title. So we're gonna give it a font weight of 300, a font size, we'll use the clamp function, and 7 rem. Okay, so one other thing, we're gonna use the var, and we're gonna use the color title. We're gonna use also the text transform, and we will give it an uppercase. So before that, let me check what we have so far. So this is what we have right now, guys. All right, the subtitle of our title, we are going to use the font size. Okay, so first of all, we'll use the clamp. We're gonna give it view width 8 rem. One other thing, we will use the maximum width and margin 0, and we will use auto for left and right. All right guys, what we're gonna do next is working on our intro info, this one. We'll work on the opacity, the margin bottom, the padding bottom. Gonna give it 1 rem. We will work on the line height, the position of course will be relative, and the align self our text to the end. So far so good. The line after this text, the vertical line. So what we are going to work on it right now is the after of intro info. So we are going to use our intro, we'll give the content, the width 1 pixel, the height, the background, we will use the color white, the position absolute, the top we'll give it 100%, and for the left we give 50% to make it at the center of our page. Alright, so I think right now that we finished our first div, this part, the intro. So what we are going to do right now is working on the content. So we will give a position relative to our content and margin bottom 20 view height. Give a content spacing, margin bottom 100 view height. So what we gonna do next is we already worked on our content spacing. One other thing what we gonna use is to work on the content title. So this means, guys, we are going to work on our H3. So this is the first content title. This time we're gonna make the position of our content title absolute, that we will have the ability to work on the text, and we will use the height 100 view height, the width we will use the viewport width, we will use the top 50%, the left 50%. For the margin we are going to give -50 view height, 0. For the bottom we're gonna give 0 also, and for the right we're gonna give -50 view width. All right, we are going to work on the padding, and we're gonna give 0, 10 view width, display grid, the place item center, we'll use the text align to center our text, we'll use the font weight, and we're gonna give 300 for the weight. For the font size we're gonna give it a to work on the responsiveness of the text. This will help us a lot on the responsiveness, guys. So use view width 6.5 is the maximum. All right, of course, guys, what we are going to work on it right now is the align items, start, the bottom also, and we are going to give it a align items end. I think that's it for the bottom. We'll work on the content, title also, justify items, start, text, align, left. What we gonna do, one last thing, we worked on the top, the bottom, the left, and finally the last one is the right. So the reason I worked with the top, bottom, left and right, because guys, as you remember, there is a title in the left, the title in the right, and there is different positions for the title. So that's why I created I separated the classes, and this is like a custom. So for the right, the justify items we will use at the end, and text align right. So we will use it, we will work on our grid, and we first we're gonna give it a display grid. We give a place items center, the padding will be 2 rem, width we're gonna give it 100%, perspective var. Alright guys, so what we're gonna do right now is just to fix some things that we missed. Okay, so I think that we missed right here the pre, so we have something else for the font family. This is a variable. So let's go back to our CSS. I think right now is everything working correctly. Height, and of course we have the variable. So what we gonna do is to add a grid. Of course guys, this is a custom property. So for the width also we have the another custom property, so we will use the grid width. For it we will use the display grid, and we will use the grid template columns. The grid columns. We will also use a gap for the grid, and of course we have another custom property for the gap, which is the grid gap. We're gonna use also the transform style, and we will give it a preserve 3D. We will work on the grid item, and then we will work on the inner, this one. So grid item inner, we'll use the position relative, the width I'm gonna use the calc, and for the width and the height, use the var grid inner scale and we will multiply it with 100%. Guys, actually the width, it depends on the scale of our grid. So we will divide 1 by the value of the CSS custom property, and we will multiply the result by 100 to convert it into percentage. So guys, this result, the width is in percentage. I think I missed one class, which is the grid item. So we're gonna work on the grid right here. So we will use the aspect ratio, we will use the var function, and we will have our custom ratio. Okay, and we will give it 100%. The height, we use the auto, the overflow hidden, border radius is 8 pixels, the display, we use grid, and the place items to center. Guys, I use also every time I use this placeholder, it's like the same as the align items. So guys, we have a little bit of something that we have to fix. So this one is, we're gonna use another one right here. Okay guys, for the this grid item, so I think I used the wrong one, so this is 2. All right, so right now we are going to continue. We will use the background size, and we will give it a cover, and for the background position we will give it 50%, 50, this one, okay, and this one 50% also. So this is so far what we have. So guys, one more thing to fix is this one. We will delete the column and we will add the grid, and I think that everything grid, not grid, come on. Okay, so what we have right now, so let's see what we have so far, guys. So right now we have this this part, so as you can see right here, okay, this everything is okay right now. So guys, this is our grid, so our text is on point on his place, and our design is finally completed. So we finally added everything.